Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up, babe. Tonight we gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now.
Welcome to the HVAC Guide for Homeowners live show where we talk about all things HVAC that no one else is talking about, answering your questions live. Please know sometimes we are joined by other pros in the chat who might know answers to questions that I don't. Tonight, we have a special guest. In fact, for the first time ever, we are having two guests. But before we bring on Jamie and Ashley, let's take a moment for a few housekeeping matters. The first thing is I've been promoting it. I've said it at the end of the last two live shows. And I just want to let all you guys know we are moving this show to a new channel. So if you are not subscribed to the new channel yet, please make sure you do. All you got to do is just search HVAC Guide Live Show on YouTube and you should find it. If you don't find it that way, just go to our channel page, scroll to the bottom, and then it'll be there. Make sure you subscribe to that because it won't be much longer and we will not be showing up on the original channel. So make sure you get subscribed to that new channel. The next thing is I want to just go ahead and promote next week and let you guys know that we have another amazing show where we will be having one of the leaders in our industry leading the way, making electrification easier for homeowners by streamlining the process like no one else. I haven't seen anybody doing what this guy is doing. He's basically taking all the guesswork out. He's doing all the hard work for you. And it's just crazy what those guys are doing. So make sure you're here next week for that. That'll be a really cool show. But last but not least, let's take a moment to pay the bills and thank the sponsor for this show.
Daikin Fit is so quiet, you'll definitely notice by not really noticing at all. Save space, save energy, save interruptions. Enjoy the game-changing efficiency of the Daikin Fit. It cools, dehumidifies, and heats so efficiently, it even keeps your energy bills comfortable. Daikin Fit.
All right. Let me just get a couple things here straight. Okay. All right. I think we're ready to go. Gotta love a live show. Tonight's guests are a brother and sister duo that I've come to look up to when it comes to business. Just to back up some, many of you know that I sold my HVAC business not long ago, and many of you asked who I sold it to. Well, tonight's guests are a special treat because they are none other than new owners of my previous business. But not just that, they are more than that. In fact, they've grown a multifaceted business to over 100 employees, providing all kinds of home services, specializing in septic, plumbing, electrical, and of course, HVAC. They have a family business spanning over several generations and have built it to be the most dominant in this area of Virginia. For over 50 years, they've served this community, and it's an honor to have them. Please welcome Jamie and Ashley Miller. All right. I'm having a malfunction over here. I can't see. Did you guys see the crowd cheering?
Yeah.
Okay. They were lined up outside. I told them it would be a while, and then they lined up, and they're here for you guys. So
I see some at the door here. They showed up at my house already.
They got the signs up, you know.
Yep.
They're passing out like an old Michael Jackson concert. So anyway, how's it going?
Things are great.
Good.
Things are good.
It's HVAC season, right? It's warm outside.
Oh my gosh. It's finally here. And I used to always say I pray for this time of year to get here, and then I always pray for it to end. So it's I can't imagine. So well, thank you guys for coming. You guys are unlike, well, first of all, you're the first guests I've ever had that I've got two guests. So I had to figure out the whole layout thing. And then on top of that, having you guys on here is just an honor because as I already mentioned, you guys are taking care of the folks that I used to take care of now, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that a little bit, maybe just kind of start with how things are going and how you guys have come to, I mean, you guys are pretty successful and maybe talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Where do you want us to start? Like from the acquisition or prior to that, or?
It's up to you. I mean, maybe start from the very beginning if you'd like. I know you guys, it goes back several generations. So if you want to start there.
Yeah. So the shorter version of the story, or I'll try to make it shorter, is our grandfather started this business in 1973, and it just started out as a septic business. He retired from the Naval Weapons Station here locally, and I think he just wanted something else to do. He wasn't ready to retire. So he bought a pump truck, didn't really want to tell my grandma about it, and bought a pump truck just so he could pump septic tanks for friends, family, neighbors, that sort of thing. My grandmother ran the business after, he passed away for a number of years. And then in 2001, Jamie and my parents took over the business. I was actually still in school at that point. So since then, it's kind of grown, multiplied. We were just septic for a long time. And then just kind of had this vision to become more of a one-stop shop, a home services company that would make life easier for customers, really, where they wouldn't have to deal with multiple vendors and, make multiple calls when they had issues in their homes. So it's really, the growth we've experienced has really been in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, where we went from just septic to we added plumbing and then electrical, and then kind of came full circle when we added HVAC completely in 2019.
Very cool. Did you want to add anything to that, Jamie?
No, it's been a long journey. The first 25 years of this business was pretty much the same thing, pumping septic tanks every day. And there was times when it wasn't really even a full-time business for one employee. And that employee, worked with our dad in the construction company, as a laborer or carpenter or whatever. And many times, our dad helped our grandma out. And then, things just started growing from there after my parents and I, when we first bought the company, the end of 2001. And kind of just what Ashley said, there was a need, and customers, we would go out and do something for a customer. They were happy with it, and they'd say, "Hey, could you help us with this?" And one thing led to another, and we got into plumbing, and then we needed more electrical, and then the last piece was HVAC, and it took us quite a while to get that all figured out, and we made it happen, and things. It's been a learning journey the whole time. So I think things are going great, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, you guys, you got it figured out. I did a class for just the HVAC folks at Miller's. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Whatever week you and I talked, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And y'all had I mean, it was over 20 folks in that room, I think. I mean, it was a pile. And there were some good guys. That's why I was telling Jeremy, who's, for those of you that don't know, Jeremy, I think is head of that, right? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he's the department manager.
And I've taught that same class to multiple companies, and it's no knock on other companies. Everybody's in their journey where they are, but y'all had guys in that room that were answering questions that no one else had gotten right. And I was like, that spoke volumes, which was really cool.
Well, I think
So,
it's really important to us. Just training is super important to us, whether it's, training our entire team on just how to deliver customer service the right way, departments on, technical things, new products, just keeping everybody up to date with like the newest technology in all the trades. So we're constantly just investing in that and trying to find new opportunities to bring into our team so that we're constantly learning and growing. We also have the accredited apprenticeship program through New Horizons, which is a path for newer guys to the trade or younger guys that are entering the trades to get their journeyman's license for plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. So yeah, it's important to us just like keep pouring into people because, really our goal is to kind of create our own team from, newer, younger guys. It's not easy to find the experience or the experience that wants to learn new things and keep up with the technology. So it's easier to bring in younger guys who are hungry and train them up the way you want them.
Find good people.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You have to find good people and that have a willingness to just learn and grow. And you just have to invest in them and pour into them. And that's what it takes. And it's, and eventually it doesn't always happen overnight, but eventually you will get your return on your investment. And at the same time, these young men, and we've had a few ladies, we don't have any right now in the field, but we've had a few in the past that, they will have a flourishing career in the trades. And so that's what we're all about.
I remember going to trade school years ago, and I mean, it's come a long way, but even still, I mean, I think that's so cool that y'all do that because I feel like, I mean, in a world now where, there's so many options. I mean, there's options that we didn't even have when we were growing up, right? I mean, making YouTube videos, for example, right? But you see the trades specifically, there's a need, right? There's a need for folks to not just have a school to go to, but also have a good program to be able to go get a job at a company. And it reminds me a little bit of what, when you read old books, what apprenticeship used to be. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it used to be, if you wanted to be a blacksmith or I don't know, a printer or whatever these trades were back then, right? A carpenter. And if you became an apprentice, they had a program for that. Like there was a way to do it. And I think we got away from that over the years just because whether it was college or just kids could go get a job flipping burgers, sometimes cheaper or making more money than they could necessarily with some of the apprenticeship programs that are out there. And now there's this huge need, right? All the baby boomers are retiring. And I don't know, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I just think it's so cool that that y'all, do that.
Well,
Ryan,
it's a mindset shift in like hiring too, because I think that there's a big difference between the word apprentice and the word helper. And, it's really easy to hire, in the trades, people refer to helpers all the time. That's my helper. Or I need a helper for this job or whatever the case is, but to me, helpers they're just that, they're there to be your extra set of hands. They're a helper. But when you refer to somebody as apprentice and you say, I'm hiring these apprentices, we have positions for apprentices, that says we have an entry level position for somebody that we want to grow. We want you to move up and become a lead. You're not just a helper for life. And so I think it's really important to us. It's become a big part of our culture. We were linked up with Gloucester High School when they were doing a program through their career and technical education, but they're no longer doing it. And so now we're doing it in-house, but it's just a summer skilled trades boot camp that we call it. And so we've now been able to open that up to not just Gloucester, but to all the neighboring counties, even homeschool kids. There's, you don't have to be a part of a school, but I think our age requirements, there's some age requirements for it, but you can come in and work with us for a week. You get paid for it. It's basically like a 1-week internship. And we kind of bounce you around through the different departments and you get to experience that. And then, when you're ready for a job, if you're still a senior in high school or something, then you can apply later and come join us. And then we're also doing this summer, we're calling it Trades Tuesdays. So for a little bit younger, there's I think you can be 15 or 16 to come do that, but you can come for and go with one of our guys for the day and just kind of get to experience a day in the life of a tradesman. So just trying to get some exposure to some of these younger kids who, college isn't for them. They're not interested in it. And, they want to get out and get in the working world. And we want them to know that there's a career path ready and waiting for them.
That is so cool.
Actually,
go ahead.
I actually think the high school is I think they were trying to get their stuff together to do it again this year. But the cool thing with what we've been able to accomplish is be able to offer it to so many other people, other school systems and not just, and some trade people too. So
yeah, Gloucester was awesome working with the past couple of years, but we got so many phone calls because people would say, my son goes to Essex, my daughter goes, to Middlesex. Can they come join this program? And because it was through Gloucester's, school program, we couldn't. So now it's been really cool to kind of open that up to, all of the students around in the area.
That is really cool. It's so cool. And you guys just lie to me now if the answer is no. But if you guys are willing, when that next time rolls around that y'all have something cool like that, I'd love to grab a camera and do a YouTube video on that. Cause that's really unique. It probably just feels like another day at work for y'all, but that I can tell you that's very unique. I don't know of anywhere else that's doing anything.
Yeah, I can let you know some dates. It's so fun. When they first come that week, because we do an orientation with them, they get special t-shirts and we have certain guys in each department that are mentors that they ride with and they look so forward to it. I mean, they're just as excited about it as everybody else is. And they have so much fun, taking fun pictures throughout the day. They'll take them out to lunch, it's a really fun week. It feels like camp, honestly, summer.
It does. And last year there was some guys that got, we have a certain time window because the parents and everybody knows what's going on. And so the technicians obviously got hung up on a job on emergency and couldn't leave. So we were going to go, pick that ride along person up, that boot camp person up. And they were like, no, we don't want to leave. We're having fun. We want to stay. So we had to call, and get the parents' permission, make them call, get their parents' permission. And they were like, fine. And I don't know. I think one of them stayed till maybe 7, 8 o'clock one night, till a little bit after dark, but that's what they wanted to do.
That's really cool. And you kind of mentioned it a second ago, Jamie. I can speak from experience that I wish more ladies would get into at least HVAC. I can't speak for some of the other trades, but if you are a lady out there and you've considered getting into the trades, hopefully, Jamie, you don't take offense to this, but I've said this to many men and women. My best employees were ladies. I had some good men, but I had to go through a lot of them to find a good one. I'd have to go through 30, maybe not 30, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I would go through several to find a good one. Whereas I would say most of the ladies I would hire they just were better employees. Could they lift as much weight? Maybe not, but by gosh, they showed up on time every day. They had a great attitude. They were just better all around. They were more mature as an employee, right? They knew why they were there, and they weren't. I mean, I hate to say that as a guy, but there were a lot of guys that, they got some growing up to do when they get their first couple jobs. Is
Well,
that
they
is that
actually
horrible
have.
to say?
No, it's. I mean, you're right. We've had all types, but the women in the trades. So much about what we do in the home services is a finesse with customer service and communication. And it's just, women have a different finesse and are able to communicate. A lot of times when you go to a home, the wife is there. I mean, the few projects that I'm working on, the last 3 or 4, I've only been able to meet with the wife. The husband's at work or is not available. And even if I try to schedule it, something came up. And it's just a different finesse that, and a comfortability that I believe a woman has with that. So both of us would love to have, more, especially young ladies looking to get in the trades. And I think there's a ton of opportunity there.
I totally agree. I am all for it. I would love to see females in every single one of our departments, like just doing it. I know they'd be running circles around some of these guys, giving them a run for their money. But the other quality I think women have too, that especially, when you're on the back end of stuff, but women are, so, when it comes to notes and information being passed along from the field to the office and things like that, it's really nice to get those, just that extra level of detail that I think women are really good at.
This show has taken a turn, and I'm okay with it. This is, I had no intentions of going down this path of talking about folks getting into our trade, but I think it's a great topic, and you guys are, I think, just, leading the way on a lot of that stuff, which is really cool. What did y'all just come up with this stuff, or do y'all know someone else that does this? Or, I mean, it's really, some of the programs y'all have in place are unique.
Well,
the apprenticeship program is something that, is offered through New Horizons, and there's other companies, in our region that are partnered with them that, basically, the accreditation through the Department of Labor is essentially that they're getting the classroom hours from New Horizon and they're getting the on-the-job hours through us. And it allows you to get your journeyman's license in 4 years. And that's for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. So I think we launched that in 2018 or 19. That was kind of our first step in this direction. And then we got connected with the high school in Gloucester when they were starting to do the, the boot camp concept and whatnot. And we just, I don't know, we loved it so much. First year we did 1 week. Last year we did 2 weeks. And then when there was some uncertainty about what the high school was doing, we were like, we have to do this ourselves. Like, it was such a powerful experience and just so fun for everybody. And it really just highlights, that there is an interest in the trades, that there are so many kids who are like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do after high school? Like, college isn't for me. I don't want to do this. And I think they just don't have the right opportunities in front of them and where to go and where to start. And if, I don't know. I mean, if in a few years we're doing a summer boot camp every week just to make sure that every single kid in this area has the opportunity to see what the trades are like, I would be okay with that.
So something really exciting happened this week. We had 2 young men that were just, they just went in their own vans, right? One is an HVAC installer and one is electrical apprentice technician. One of them came through the very first boot camp we had 2 years ago. And then he worked part-time. He actually finished high school early that year. And then he came to work for us. He didn't obviously graduate or walk until the rest of his class did, but he was done. So he came to work for us full time and has worked ever since then. And then, this time last year, there was a signing day. They both walked up on stage and, they accepted offers for us for full-time employment, out of school. And then just was it? Yeah, it was Monday, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Monday they were given their own vans. So, and Adam didn't come through the.
He didn't go through the boot camp, but his brother works for us too. So that's another thing is we get a lot of referrals and family members and things like that coming through. But what's really unique about those two guys, and I didn't know this until he just told me Monday, but they said they've been best friends since 6th grade. So they graduated together last year. They did the signing day with us last year, and they've both been apprentices in those two departments, full time for the past 12 months. And both of them just phenomenal young men. And they're super ready to be on their own. We have some great mentors on our team. So no one's ever alone. They're not left hanging. If they run into a question, they know what they don't know. They know what they need to ask questions on, but they're going to do such an awesome job. We're super excited for them.
Yep.
Ryan asked, do these ride-alongs lead to jobs or apprenticeships? It's pretty much both, right?
Yeah, both. For us, the apprenticeship that we offer is a job with us. So, right now it's not, one or the other. We actually do, even outside of that program, you could come to us as a 10-year experienced HVAC technician that is interested in a job. And, if we do an interview with you, seems like it's a great fit, before you get hired, you actually come in for a 1-day ride along just to make sure that, we're a fit for you, you're a fit for us. You can kind of see what our processes are like, kind of what we expect of our team in terms of, image, the way they carry themselves, the way we deliver customer service, all of those things. And so everybody kind of gets that opportunity to.
Awesome. I wanted to switch gears. You mentioned that one of these guys, they've got a brother working there. I love my brother, but I can't imagine working with him because we fight like cats and dogs sometimes. What can y'all speak to working with a sibling and or family? Is there ever some, little sibling, tiffs like when you're kids, or is it have y'all pretty much, gotten past all that and there's never any of that?
No, it's definitely, times, but years ago it was really, really tough there for several years, but I think we've gotten through all that. I know I've grown a lot through it, and I believe Ashley has too. And, now we kind of know what she does well, what I do well. And we work together. It doesn't mean that we always agree on everything together, and we shouldn't, but I kind of have a big vision, and Ashley makes everything happen. And that's what makes it all work together, together. And so I wouldn't be where I'm at without her, and the business wouldn't be, without the two of us. It wouldn't have, a lot of times in a business like this, it takes what they call, I read a book, they call it a visionary and an integrator. And you have to have both positions, whether brother and sister or partners or whatever, but you got to have both positions in a company for it really to grow and flourish and move ahead like we are.
Yeah, Jamie's very much the visionary. And I'm usually the one that's like, I think that's a great idea. Let's put that on the calendar for 4th quarter and we'll talk about it then. And so it's normally me like, maybe let's pump the brakes, or that's financially not feasible right now, or, this is how we can make that happen, that sort of thing.
Those were both very good, politically correct answers. I was really hoping y'all'd say, I know this is a live show, but I got something I've been wanting to get off my chest. Let me just.
No,
I'm just kidding.
We'll do that later.
For the sake of excitement, I punched a hole in a couple doors years ago while I was that mad. So we just took those doors off and they've never been put back.
There you go.
They literally, there's
did cover a hole up with a sign one time.
I did.
for a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
Y'all should
But-
leave those doors up, and then when the new guys come in, you say, "Look, if you get lippy, this
This
is
what happens. Yeah.
this is what happens. This is what happens." That's right.
Yep.
Very cool. There was one other question, and I think I know the answer, but not that it really matters. But Ryan did ask. He says, "Do y'all offer exclusively Daikin branded equipment, or do y'all offer more than that?"
For the most part, we only offer Daikin right now. I won't say, I won't use the word exclusive. Am I allowed to say other brands?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't mean.
Yeah, so we were previously an American Standard dealer. I guess technically we still are. So if customers like dead set on that, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's Daikin. And just to be totally transparent, the biggest motivation for shifting what we offered was vendor support, because we weren't getting it previously. And gosh, it was through the nightmare of like COVID and not being able to get things. And it was just, I mean, a true, we had just launched HVAC in 2019, right? So we were newer to it. We were trying to get it off the ground. We launched this membership program to our customers. We're like, this is going to be great. People are going to love this, like one-stop shop. And then I was like, oh, just kidding. We can't get the equipment. So it was definitely a nightmare. But it's been great since, we've been offering mostly Daikin and really good support.
Well, we actually offered Rude at first.
Actually, yep, we did. That
Rude
only
at first.
lasted a while.
And we were trying to deal with Rude and American Standard, and it was like back and forth. One day was good up one place, one day was good, and just finally, Rude just wasn't good for us for support, and we stuck with American Standard, and then this is where we landed because before I ever got into the HVAC business, you always, in some best practice groups we're in, business best practice groups, everybody always said, I'm like, I asked, why do you sell this? Why are you Carrier? Why are you Train? Why are you Daikin? And it doesn't, they're like, the equipment does the same, right? They all have different levels of different everything. All equipment is pretty good. If it's installed right, but it's all about the customer support. And if you have a problem, you need support to deal with it. So the customer's taken care of. And that's what really makes it.
Daikin is one of the sponsors of our YouTube channel. They did not pay you guys to say any of that, right?
No.
They did not pay us. I would say that to anybody. And I think that I just had this conversation with somebody recently. We have a lot of colleagues like all over the country, really, that we've gotten to know. And it's funny because people's opinion about who provides the best support really does differ, depending on where they're at. But at least for us in this area, that's who we've gotten the best support from. And I think we'll continue to stick with them.
I think you're froze up.
Yeah, my internet, man. I don't know if y'all can hear me now, but my internet is crummy sometimes. So, but anyway, I didn't hear any of that, but I'm sure it was all good stuff. I'm sure.
I just said more good stuff about, vendor support. So.
Got it. Yeah. I honestly, I made the same journey as well. All the brands that you mentioned, I'm not going to try to bash anybody, but, I made the same journey. And in the last 4 or 5 years at my company, we sold Daikin, and my biggest thing with them, I agree to an extent that most of the equipment is relatively good, but for me, I put the stuff in and I would not hear back from the customer in a good way, and I could not say that about a lot of the other brands that we were installing. So, to me, that was a part of it as well. So,
yeah.
Let's see. I actually was thinking about asking this exact question, and Ryan just asked it. Do you guys, especially the ones that start out as apprentices and they're not quite sure what they want to do they ever try one trade and then maybe try another, or maybe even make a switch entirely for one reason or another?
Um, I wouldn't say that that has happened too frequently. Um, we have a little bit of overlap, in our septic division, between the guys who do like service repairs versus the guys who are doing more of the excavation type of work, the underground type of work. Sometimes a little bit maybe with plumbing, like going from like drain cleaning to septic to plumbing. But we really haven't had anybody say, "Hey, I really hate being a plumber. Can I be an HVAC tech?" With that being said, we are also in the process of developing a completely new program that we just announced to our managers last week. That's going to be our own internal, we're basically calling it our internal internship. So we can bring in, if somebody applies to be an apprentice with us and they have no experience, whether they're right out of high school or maybe just a career changer, but they have no experience and they know they want to get in the trades, but they don't know exactly which one maybe, or they're not married to it. Then they can come in as a full-time employee, just regular employment, but they will come in for the first 4 weeks into our internship program, and they will spend 1 week with each department. And then at the end of that internship program, one of the girls that's part of our HR department is essentially managing these interns, if you will, during that time, checking in with them, checking in with the mentors, seeing how they're doing. At the end of that internship program, then they would have the opportunity to say, I really feel at home in the electrical department, or I really feel at home in the HVAC department. And then that manager would interview them just like they're a new hire. And if everybody feels good about it and they're definitely a fit for that department and that position, then they would join that department officially.
Oh, that's cool. Always, you guys are just coming out with all kinds of cool new stuff. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I think that's because years ago I worked for companies that offered multiple trades or services, and that's how I found HVAC. I worked for a company that I had went to school to be an electrician. I had worked at a plumbing company for a number of years, and then I worked at a company that did all three, and I fell in love with HVAC. And I'm not going to get into all the reasons why, but I just, that was the trade for me. And I don't think I would have found it had I continued to work at, companies. I mean, in fact, this trade school that I went to, HVAC wasn't even offered. I think it is now, but it wasn't back then. So it's just kind of crazy how that all works.
Well, and outside of just like the specific trades, I know with septic, like through our apprenticeship program and stuff, that's not really a program that's offered through New Horizons, but we have some in-house training there. The other thing is, we get a lot of young guys who are like, I've always dreamed of like, being an equipment operator. Like I want to play on big equipment and dig in the dirt, or I want to drive big trucks. And so we now have we got approved through DMV, went through the whole process to do our own internal CDL training program. So we have that going on also, where if you are interested in getting your CDL, you don't have to go to one of the local community colleges or driving schools and pay $6,000 or $7,000. If you're an employee with us, we'll do that for you. We'll run you through our own curriculum and then take you to go do the on-road test and all of that stuff. So even outside of that, there's some other opportunity there for, guys who are interested in that.
Nice. So just completely change entirely. I'm just tired with these trades entirely, and I want to go dig in the dirt. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm monitoring some of the chat here.
I kind of believe that if I'd had this opportunity when I was 18 years old, and it's just kind of how I am. That's why we're in all these. This is kind of my vision, right? I would have, just as a technician initially, years ago, wanted to be a part of as much as I can, because the more things the more you can do, the more it makes you worth, right? The more valuable you are to the customer, the employer, to yourself, to your family, everybody. and it's not going away. It's the trades are recession proof. They're they're always needed, and it's just what it is. It's never going to go away, and you'll always have a job. You can always find a job, and as things go on, and the baby boomers retire, and it's happening big. I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I read something recently of the statistics about the amount of jobs that will be needed in the next 5 to 10 years is just huge, and it's an amazing opportunity. So to get into the trades, yeah, you got to sweat a little bit and get your hands dirty a little bit, but if you put forth the effort and the willingness, eventually you're going to come out on top, and it's going to be an amazing career.
That whole deal is going to be interesting because, you look at the baby boomer generation, which is the generation that I learned under, right? My first mentors in the trades were all baby boomers, or most of them anyway. And that whole generation, I think we're right on the cusp now. Like most of them are definitely over 60 now. We're right there now to where they're either retiring or they're about to. And I think that alone, never mind all the other issues, never mind all the new technologies, that alone is just going to really change our the trades in general. I don't think it's talked about enough.
No, it's not.
No, I have a thought about it because, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard it, and I've actually I'd read somewhere about it, and we had some employees years ago that were something like this, where the old school tradesmen, that some of these guys may not quite be baby boomers yet, but they were kind of against training their apprentices because they were afraid that they might take their job. And so I read a story or an article that there was some thought behind that's kind of what happened. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but if you're afraid, if this whole generation is afraid, well, if we train people, then people may take our jobs. Well, now you don't train anybody, and you have this huge gap, and that's what we're seeing right now. So whether it's true or not, or just a myth or something, I guess. I know that we had a couple employees that were great employees, but they love a helper, right? But they didn't want to teach them anything. They're like, well, I just want to do it myself. And it's, you have to be willing to allow them to make mistakes, and that's how they're going to learn. And sometimes they're big mistakes and tough mistakes, but hopefully they learn from them and they don't make them ever again, and they become better people, better tradespeople out of it.
I have to admit, I struggled with that for a long time. And it wasn't until I owned a business that I started to understand that, the insecurities that guys have when they won't train others, you're so far down the road that you're never going to train that person to be as good as you should be if you've been doing it for 20 plus years. And so it took me a long time to understand that, but by the time that person is even in your caliber or as good as you should be, you're going to probably be getting to become an old timer and looking at retirement anyway. Right. I mean, that it's just silly to have that attitude, especially with the lack of labor or workforce now. It's just, it should be a thing of the past. So I dealt with that too as an employer at times. So I totally understand.
100%. I'm not sure. Somebody asked me recently, said, you train all your employees. Are you fearful that they're going to leave you? And I said, well, to be honest, we've had some leave, right? Start their own business or do something different, go somewhere else. Well, what's worse, to train them and fear that they may leave, or to not train them and fear what they're going to deliver to your customer? And so, a mentor told me that a long time ago, because I was like, why would we take I would go to these trainings and they were like, you need to bring your employees. I'm like, why am I going to spend money on them? They may leave me. And they're like, well, Jesus, you don't want to train them, but so yeah, they may leave, but I mean, I think it's if someone comes to us and learns a lot, right, and becomes really good, and they go out on their own and start or do something great with it, it's kind of a compliment to Ashley and I, and to the company and to everybody here that, you know, they learned a lot here, right? And so that it says something that we gave them something to go help themselves and their family. And if that's what it ends up being, then by God, go do what's best for you, So that's how I
I
look
also
at it.
think that there's plenty of work to go around, and we might be a really large outfit in this area. We might be a really big growing company, but we can't handle all the work in the areas that we serve. And, so if we have people who work with us and train under us and take some things away and start their own businesses and end up being successful, then, I'm happy for them. And, I want all of our, all of the businesses in our area to be successful. Cause like I said, I mean, there's plenty of work to go around. We can't do it all ourselves. And so whether it's they work for us, start their own business, go work for someone else, I hope that, they take what they learn and do something good with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. I know we had talked before the show about a goofy invention. Did you come up with one yet, Jamie?
Yeah, I would like something that, I do some laundry at home, and I don't mind doing it, but my wife says I don't do it right, so she does it, and she'll take it out and fold it, but then she puts it in a pile, and I hate putting laundry away. So I just want some invention that does it all. Like I don't have to touch it. Not a person, just, like maybe a robot. So I don't know that it's an invention, right? It's a robot. I just need a robot that, and I don't like putting dishes away. I don't, none of that stuff. So I don't know that it's goofy, but, if you had this magical thing that, you just threw your laundry in this chute, and then, when you got home this evening, it was all done, hung up, folded, maybe ironed. Ashley told me the other day that my pants, she said, "What is wrong with your pants?" I'm like, "I don't know." And they were, I guess they were wrinkled. I didn't look at the back of my legs. Yeah.
Wrinkled.
I just pulled them out of a pile because I hadn't put them away yet. So that's, so that would be my invention. Just snap a finger, you come home, and boom, it's all there.
Josh, have you ever been to one of the local, well, they're not local like in our area, but across, the bridge, like Newport News? The first one I saw was in Norfolk, but some of the Mexican restaurants, like the Plaza Aztecas, they have the robot that brings your food out to you. Have you seen that?
Yes. Scared me the first time I saw it.
Yes. That is it's crazy but it's so funny that the only place I've seen it is Mexican restaurants.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That is true.
I saw it at one in Richmond and one in Norfolk, the Plaza Azteca at was it the Norfolk Premium Outlets?
I've only seen it at the one in Richmond, the Plaza Azteca there on Glenside. So,
yeah, it's crazy to see.
I think that's funny though. I think they have some invention now for clothes, but you basically still do 85% of the work, having to connect it to the robot in a specific way. But I'm totally with you on that because my wife says that I never do it right either. In fact, she won't even let me wash my own clothes, and I'm willing to. Like, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, only one person in the house should handle certain things. And so, but I'll do it. And she'll be like, you didn't fold this right. You're not doing things the way. I'm like, it's my pants. I should be able to fold it how I want to fold it. But anyway.
There you go. So we'll come up with that invention. It's not, I don't know, that's super goofy, but it's, I think, if you can make it cost effective, it would be a hot seller, Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the robot that's on the Jetsons,
Yes.
But apparently it would have to be a Spanish speaking robot, apparently.
Yes.
So they've got the market cornered.
Yes.
I would like a car like the Jetsons. I could just pick up and drive straight to where I need to go. And so I did have a customer tell me one time that he said, every time I see you, you're on the phone or something. He said, you should do what I do. And, he has a couple businesses. And I said, what's that? He bought a Tesla. I mean, he said, I get in the car in the morning, I put the address in, and I just let it take me there where I'm going. And I said, what do you do? He said, I sit back and send emails on my computer, on my laptop. I was like, I don't know that I'm that brave yet, but I guess that's what it does. So
there's a
driving around in a Tesla.
There's a show called Upload on, I think it's Amazon, and it's about that, where all the cars are self-driving, but then, and they're all supposed to be way safer, because they're all self-driving. But this guy, it's like a big conspiracy because he invents something to, to basically, take money out of the big corporation's pocket. So they hack his car and calls him to wreck, and so it makes me think. I'm like, I don't even know now, if that's it. I think it's possible, right?
Yeah.
If the powers that be, now we're getting into conspiracies, but let's see. I did want to ask, I want to back up a little bit. Speaking of goofy inventions or things to come, you mentioned that you're the visionary, Jamie, and I'd be curious, has he ever thrown a vision at you, Ashley, and any that you're willing to share that it's just been like so crazy that, that it would be worth a laugh? Or
Nothing that I can think of that is like so crazy.
Like a robot that does your laundry?
No, nothing like that. Normally I actually say this to him frequently if he gets frustrated when I like shoot down his ideas. It's not usually that I'm shooting down his ideas, because it's not often that I actually disagree with his idea. It's usually that I disagree with the timing or like the financial feasibility. It's like, I think that sounds great, but can we make that happen? If we invest the money in it, do we have the people to make it happen? Do we already have too many? I mean, you've already heard, like, we're constantly coming up with new ideas. And so it's like, how many irons can you have in the fire at one time? So it's normally more like that. And that's why I'm constantly saying, like, that sounds like a good thing to talk about. Let's revisit that in fourth quarter. So I talk in terms of quarters all the time. But yeah, it's a lot of times, he's like further ahead, whether it's 12 months or 24 months or 5 years down the road. And I'm more over here thinking about like, all right, how am I going to make the schedule happen, tomorrow? So yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy, but I often, think about like, what if this, what if that, what if this, what if this? And Jamie's just like, let's just do it. I mean, let's do it.
You got anything you want to add, Jamie? Have you ever had one that you kept to yourself because you were like, she's just going to tell me it's wait till the fourth quarter?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's anything crazy, but, when the first couple customers came to me and said, matter of fact, I just looked on Service Titan, maybe it was today, and we were doing work for the guy in Whitestone. And he was one of the first customers that said, you've worked on my septic, you've worked on my plumbing, and you've worked on my electrical. Can't you just fix my HVAC? Because I've had 3 people out here. It's not working right. And so I actually contacted a colleague, another business in the area. And I said, hey, I have a couple customers that need some help. They want me to make sure it's taken care of. And so I didn't necessarily make any money off of it. But I actually met one of the business owners at this house on a Sunday morning to fix the guy's AC because they were coming down and spending the whole week for vacation. And I helped them get it fixed. And so I think when I went to Ashley the first time and said, I really want to get HVAC, she was like, you've lost your damn mind. She was like, we don't know nothing about that. And, we hired a few people. We had one guy that, he was walking across the yard and face planted, and there's lots of funny stories we can tell. But
oh my gosh,
Kevin was walking along. He looked back and goes, "What are you doing?" He was laying on the ground. But we had some
Jamie
ups
would
and
get
downs.
sucked in by guys who were like, close to 70 years old, been doing this for a very long time. And Jamie would be like, this is it. This is our guy. And I'm thinking like, this is not our guy. Like, this is not going to get us to where we need to go. And
So
he definitely went through some people.
yeah, plumbing was kind of a shoe-in. We were already doing that, and then I got into it. Electrical, we were already doing some of it for septic and sewer stuff. We needed an electrician. So actually the first electrician we hired wasn't to do so much electrical work in your home. It was to support other business trades. And then one thing led to another. But HVAC was kind of, we greenfielded that from the start, and neither one of us have any background in it. And it's been, there's been some good times and some bad times and a lot of learning, but it's been exciting to learn it and be able to offer to our customers. So that's probably, it took us a while to get it going, and we had some ups and downs, but that was probably, there was many times when she said, no, we can't do that. And we put it on hold, and then it would come back up, and I would push a little more, and finally it stuck, and we found the right person to help us get it going, and it happened. But then the best part, and this was something that we had talked about, and we learned about this through some best practice groups of ours, was this Total Care Club, right? And so I'll let Ashley tell this, but we actually launched that, and then both of us left and went on vacation. So she has a little bit of the trigger pulling in her too. It just takes her some effort to get going. If she's passionate about it, she'll just let it go. And we were on vacation. Like, here we go.
I just created like a 1-pager, and I was like, hey, this is what we're offering as of April 1st. We were actually going on a cruise for spring break. We were going down to Florida and then taking the kids on a cruise for spring break. And we just kind of made this decision, like April 1st is the date. Like, this is when this is happening. And I was like, well, here's this 1-pager. This is what we're offering. This is how much it costs. And, they get these inspections, and here's the benefits. Sell it, do it, offer it. So, yeah. But, a few years later, we've got about, I don't know, we have about 1,200 people that are members with us. And so it's been a good venture.
Nice. All from a 1-pager right
All
before
from a
vacation.
1-pager. Yeah.
There you go. I was thinking as y'all were talking about some of the visions that I had from years ago. And I remember one specifically, I had listened to some podcast, and I wanted to stand out. And so I had a meeting with my guys the next week, and I was like, okay, we're going to start wearing pink shirts, and we're going to get American flags, and we're going to drape those on the windows. And I mean, just all these things that I wanted to do to stick out, and I just remember my guys all looking at me like, I'm quitting tomorrow, because you're not putting me in a pink shirt. They were not going to wear a pink shirt. I remember that being a very hot topic, and just some of my visions, if you will. I also had this vision for a little while where I had listened to this podcast. That's where most of my visions come from. And this guy, or I basically had come up with, I wanted to have where we pull up to fix their air conditioner, right? So they've called you, you're there to fix their air conditioner. And I wanted it to be like this whole, like you're staying at a 5-star hotel service. So I wanted to roll out a red carpet. I wanted to open the sliding door and then literally roll out a red carpet. And then have one guy washing their cars. And I mean, I just had all this stuff, and just from this one podcast that I listened to, and yeah, none of that came to fruition either.
Good thing you and Jamie don't spend too much time talking.
The podcast. Go ahead.
Henry Ford said years ago that if you believe you're right and you believe you're wrong, you're right. And so, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it says, but if you have a vision, you write it down. Ashley and I wrote a 3-year vivid vision at the end of last year. I don't know if you got a copy of it. We should give you a copy of it. Next time I see you, I'll get you a copy of it. But if you put it on paper, it'll come true. will you have to course correct? Will it all happen exactly? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen. If you believe in it, it will happen. And so, this business was started, 50 plus years ago. And on the back of the pump truck, it said, if it won't flush, don't cuss, call us. And now look where we're at. So
that's awesome.
I do have a dream one day of building we don't have it. There was no specific one, but just like getting an old truck with an old tank and lettering it like it was years ago and putting that on there and just put in the parades. I think it'd be a good conversation piece.
Yeah. Get like an old Model T and put like a little, I don't know, like a 15-gallon tank on it or something, Yep. So that'd be funny.
My grandfather used to say that what we do every day butters our bread. So just think about that.
There you go.
That was in the septic business.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we're going to probably wrap up in just a moment, but those of you that are in the chat, let's do it. Let's do this. We wrap up our show every week the same way. And that is wherever you are in the country, if we all know there's bad ones, right? There's some bad apples in our industry. If you know any good ones, whether they're HVAC, plumbing, or electrical, share them in the chat and where they're located. Let's show some love to the good ones. And you never know, someone in your area might just see that. Obviously, we can share one, which is Miller Services here in the Gloucester. I don't know. What is y'all's coverage area? Y'all go all the way to Richmond now and all the way down to Hampton, or y'all are kind of everywhere?
Yeah. I mean, we're primarily, Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, and Peninsula, into like, obviously Williamsburg, James City County, Newport News, that sort of stuff. Really, it's our septic team that goes further out for some different, regulatory reasons. I'll leave it at that. But HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, those guys, it's mostly, those three peninsulas.
Very cool. Y'all were starting to mention a couple stories, and so I wanted to wrap up with asking you guys what's like the craziest things. What's the craziest story that's happened to you since starting or getting into the business? Got any crazy ones?
I feel like
I'll let Ashley answer first, and then I have one in mind that it's hard.
While she's thinking, I'll share mine. I've shared this on our live show before. Years ago, I was working for a company in Richmond, and I was doing the electric. I was putting lights in this strip club, believe it or not. The strip club was closed, so I was the only soul in this entire building until my boss got there, and we put a circuit tracer on one of the lines, and we were following it through the building, and we found this hidden trap door. It wasn't a trap door. It was like this hidden door. And we went through it looking for this electrical panel, and found this whole side of the building that was basically a brothel. It was like 10 beds in these different bedrooms. And I was like, where in the heck are we? What is going on? This is the craziest thing I have dealt with. So that's usually my craziest that I share.
We did have an employee that worked for us for quite a period of time in the septic industry, that came on board with us after he kind of dissolved his business, and he had worked for a nudist campground, right, Jamie?
Yeah, it's in Ivor, Virginia. It's called Whitetails Resort.
Whitetails.
I actually went there. I went there.
Jamie wanted to take them on as a customer. I was like, this is an HR nightmare.
I went there one time with that gentleman, and then we decided that we weren't going to take them on as a customer. But it was interesting. You just have to make sure that when you go to dinner, you take a towel to sit on a chair. You can't sit on a chair with your bare bottom.
I mean, they're literally like, you're there to do service on their septic system or whatever. At that time, that was the only thing we were talking to them about. And you have to talk to these people while they are completely stark naked. No shame, no shame.
That employee tells a story before he came on board with us. He was down there doing a service, and he was he was hanging down inside like the tank riser, right? And which is a big, opening in the ground to the tank. And some guy walked up and was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And when he turned around, looked up, all he saw was his twigs and berries sitting there. So, but
I didn't even know Virginia had anything like that. So that's crazy.
I didn't either.
Ivor,
it's still
Virginia.
crazy to me. Yeah, you look it up, Whitetail Resort.
Yep.
Okay.
Your
You take your
website
family down there.
actually, the website really illustrates more than probably what you want to know.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I'll tell you a funny story. We can laugh about it now, but it's pretty crazy. So we had an employee that was moving some equipment for us to a location between Saluda and Tappahannock, I'll say, up at King and Queen, and drove our dump truck and trailer and excavator across 2 homemade wooden bridges. Cracked one of them. The second one broke. We almost lost the excavator in the drag and run.
Oh my gosh.
The excavator was like sinking in the drag and run stream for a period of an hour until we got it out.
For those of you that don't know, that aren't from Virginia, the drag and run, it's a swamp, or at least most of it is, right?
Yep. It's a swamp. So it was homemade. It's an old road bed that goes across there from hundreds of years ago. And he drove. The GPS takes you through there because obviously Google sometimes is wrong. And that's what he did, and drove across it. And on the second one, he lost it all in the drag and run. So we got the machine out. Luckily, thank God, it didn't spill anything. So, that wasn't a problem. No contaminants or anything. But we were in the bridge building business that summer. This is a couple years ago, I think. Yeah. We were in the bridge building business for for about a month. So
that is crazy.
Yep. Cost us quite a bit of money to fix all that and deal with it and everything. So
I've heard of people getting lost in the drag and run. So I can't imagine losing an excavator in the drag and run.
Yeah. It's about 15 foot deep where this happened.
Wow. Jeez Louise.
So
nice. Well, I do appreciate you guys joining us. I know this is probably not something that, you do on the regular or whatever, but I do appreciate you taking time out. And, I've said this to you guys and I'll say it again. It was not a light decision for me when it came time to sell my business. It was, a big decision for me. Right. And I just appreciate, you guys and how that all went and our continued, friendship. I consider you friends. I don't know how you feel about me, but I consider you guys as friends. So
of course.
That said, we're going to wrap up with that, guys. I'll be back again next Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Make sure you're subscribed to the new channel, HVAC God Live Show YouTube channel, because eventually everything's going to get moved over there. And I'll just say this, because I've had a couple people ask, once we get at least a couple hundred, if not, I don't know, I'd like to get about 500 to 1,000 subscribers over there before we completely move everything over, because then I'll know you guys aren't missing, because anybody, and especially you guys that join us every week, I don't want to, just completely move. And then you guys are like, well, I guess Josh shut everything down, so make sure you're subscribed to the new channel. Horace says hi, by the way. I know you guys know Horace. So
Hey, Horace.
Hey, Horace.
I cannot stand that guy, hopefully just don't tell him I said that. But yeah, and I know it's late, so I do appreciate you guys taking time out to be here. And with that, I'll see the rest of you next Tuesday night. And Jamie and Ashley, don't go anywhere. I've had guests just hang up right away. But for the rest of you, again, I'll see you next week. In the meantime, make it a great week. Take care.